Bienvenidos a la Maria Podcast, a podcast where I don't know what I'm doing, but it's okay, we'll figure it out together. Yo soy la Maria, and yeah, let's get started. Okay, this is episode 5, and I'm gonna start off with the meme of the week. And I actually posted this meme on my Snapchat story, but I think it's a little outdated, but I still think it's funny in, a dark humor kind of way. But it says, when you gotta choose between being kidnapped or having herpes, and there's a girl, and on her left, R. Kelly is touching her shoulder, and then on the right, Usher is touching her shoulder. I thought it was funny. And I also had this other meme. It's not really a meme, but it's more of an observation. And it says, rare photo of Ted Bundy with his car, and his bicycle is upside down. Like he put his bicycle on the car upside down. And there's like little things like that where if you see someone doing something like completely out of place, you're like, holy shit, they're a serial killer. Yeah, that bike, upside down bike, if I ever see anybody with an upside down bike on their car, I'm definitely gonna think they're a serial killer. And yeah, talking about serial killers, I feel like last week, by the way, it's been such a long week from last episode when I had a guest on the podcast to today. It feels like it has been 2 weeks. But anyway, I was riding my bike. I haven't gone to the gym, but I've been riding my bike around a lot because I still want to get exercise. And let me just paint the picture because today is a lot like that day. Gloomy outside, a little cold, but it's not cold, but it's just the wind is cold. And it might rain, it might not, very cloudy. That's how it is today. That's how it was that day when I was riding my bike. And I had actually gone and I was coming back home at this point. And when I was kind of on a hill, I noticed a figure. I was gonna pass this person, and I noticed them because they basically looked like they were in a lab. You know, they had a white hoodie. I want to say it was probably light gray than white, but they had a hoodie, a mask on, gloves, long sweatpants, and closed shoes. I noticed them from far away, and I don't know, I when I was passing them, they said something and I stopped my bike. Real rapey type of situation. I would have probably, or serial killer type of situation. But this dude said something, so I stopped. And I have friends who pass by the trail a lot, so obviously if they're all covered up like that, I can't see them. But I stopped and I couldn't see anything of them. I just know they were a guy. I couldn't see their face. I couldn't really figure out their skin color. And they were like, "You're really pretty." And this dude tried to reach out. I saw his hand reaching out to touch me. And I was like, "Don't touch me, bro." And then he kind of like moved his hand back slowly. And then he was like, "Can I get your number?" And I got on my bike. I was like, "Nah, I'm good." And I rode my bike off as fast as I could. And at this point, I saw this other woman that was like, and at this point, I saw this other woman that was gonna pass by there. So I warned her, and she had a kid, so like the kid was riding behind her, and I was like, "Watch out for that guy." And she was like, "All right." And I saw her face turn into like, relaxed to like focus. She like focused, she looked like she could be somebody's ass. But yeah, fucking creepy. And then yesterday, I was riding my bike on the same path, but it was sunny out. There was a lot of people on the trail. And as I was passing, there was a dude that like wasn't covered. I could see his face. I could see his skin color and everything. I could see like what he looked like. And he was passing by and he smiled at me. And I was like thinking like, do I know this guy? And then I just kept riding my bike. And then on the way back, I realized that he was talking to me. He like said something, or he said, "Have you gotten to the end of the trail yet?" I didn't stop this time. Even though there were a lot of people, I was like, in my mind, I'm never stopping again for a person when they try to talk to me. If I know them, they'll understand. If they're a stranger, who cares? They're a stranger anyway. But he said, have you gotten to the end of the trail? I kept riding my bike. If you heard me or not, I don't care. But I basically said, I'm trying to build up to it. I was like, no, I'm trying to build up to it. And I kept riding my bike. And then I realized, I was like, what if that guy was the same guy? Because he kind of felt, I don't know. I feel like he talked to me like he knew me. I don't know. I feel like if I ride my bike, people are able to recognize me a little better. But I've watched enough serial killer documentaries and like I'm always fascinated about that stuff because I mean, you can't avoid, accidents, but I guess you just have to learn how to be like mindful of like when a situation isn't right. And when I when it was gloomy outside, that was definitely not a good situation for me. Obviously, it was like towards the end of me riding my bike, so I was already tired. I had stopped because I was getting tired. Just a really creepy situation. And I don't know, man. I feel like a serial killer, like I'm the perfect victim, I guess. I would be the perfect victim for a serial killer because I'm not really that tall, bro. And I mean, I feel like I would be fine in a situation like that. But like shit happens but I've also watched Lovely Bones. I think that's the name of the movie. I had to obviously watch that movie in sections because it's such a rough movie to watch. It's called Lovely Bones. I'm looking it up. The Lovely Bones. And it's basically, this movie's from 2009. And it's basically like this girl who loves riding her bike around. She's young, she's in high school. And she's just starting her life. And one day she was walking from school back home and she saw her neighbor. And her neighbor was like, "Hey, can you help me out with this thing?" And she was like, "Sure." And then the rest of the movie is basically just her trying to figure out what happened. Because at this point, she's dead and she doesn't know what's happening. And then her sister actually like ends up breaking into the house of that guy and finds her belongings. And that's like when is the dead girl's able to remember everything. She's able to remember what happened to her. Basically, the guy killed her. And this is just a movie. I don't think it's based on a real life story, but I'm sure stuff like that happens all the time where girls just get taken by a random creepy guy and they get murdered. This movie at the end, what ends up happening is that the neighbor, is too afraid of getting caught, so he basically has a safe full of stuff in it. It's, I think, assumed that the girl's body was in there, and she's basically thrown in a junkyard somewhere. And nobody ever finds her because her body's in a safe in the middle of nowhere. And the movie ends that way, and he just goes on to live his life. It's freaking creepy, and that's why I have trust issues, and I don't trust anybody. You know, I have trust issues, but like, I'm also like very interested in this concept of fear, how it all works, how fear works. Parents tell you, oh, there's ghosts, there's this, there's that, but there's not. You should be more afraid of the real things than things that are made up in your imagination. I don't think my imagination is like picturing serial killers, but like, I don't know, man. A serial killer would love me, bro. I would be the perfect candidate for a serial killer because I'm young and that's basically it. And I'm a girl and Like I said, I think I could defend myself, but shit happens sometimes. And I mean, I'm still gonna ride my bike there because I like getting the exercise. I guess I just have to be more cautious. And like I said, I'm not stopping anymore for anybody when they try to talk to me. I'm just gonna keep going. I want to explore this concept of fear a little bit more because I remember I took a psychology class, AP Psych, in high school, and one of the things we talked about was fear. And for me, my presentation I had to give was on fear. And some people are afraid of clowns, some people are afraid of circles. And one of the most interesting things that I think people are afraid of, there are people who are afraid of feathers. So there was a woman, a case study that we looked at. The woman was so scared of feathers that you could see it in her face. Like, they recorded her and they just showed her a feather and she would start crying so much and she would just have such a fear of feathers. Obviously, they don't know why. Maybe it might have happened when she was little that something happened and she's really scared of feathers. But I think, you gotta conquer your fears, and that's why I like doing stuff and putting myself out there because I get exposed to things and I get exposed to not being scared. I don't want to be scared of things that don't exist. I want to, you know, if I'm gonna be scared, I'm gonna be scared of something that like is actually gonna harm me and not something that, like I said, doesn't exist. But yeah, think about your fears. What are you afraid of? And are they rational fears? A feather's not gonna hurt you. Obviously, that woman didn't know that, and she had to build courage and mental strength to be able to touch a feather and be in the same room as a feather. But yeah, think about your fears. What are you afraid of? Does it make sense to be afraid of those things? Or is it just in your head? Is it just not real? But anyway, moving on from that dark shit. I'm gonna be doing a lot of talking shit today. I just had a bunch of ideas on my phone, wrote a lot of stuff down. Yeah, let's get into this shit talking. Um, DMX passed away. Rest in peace, DMX. If you don't know who DMX is, he basically made the Deadpool movie. If it wasn't for DMX, his song playing on the movie, Deadpool would have been a flop. But anyway, and I was thinking, like I said, I'm just gonna talk shit. It doesn't have to make any sense. But yeah, so I'm thinking about like kids and stuff, some people have a lot of kids, some people don't have any kids. And I'm thinking, do those people who never have kids, they just never figured out how to have kids? Because it's usually like older couples. Obviously, the young ones know how to have kids, so they have a lot of kids at a young age. But like older people, or maybe like they tried and didn't work out, but or they just never wanted kids. I don't even know, man. It's not Christmas, but this is Christmas related. I was thinking about like this kid in fourth grade, how he he didn't know that Santa Claus wasn't real, and I remember I remember a group of kids and I were talking about like, oh yeah, Santa Claus not real. Like we've never believed in Santa Claus because it's not part of our culture. And this dude was like, Santa Claus is not real? And we were like, are you serious, dude? You're in fourth grade. How do you still believe in Santa Claus? And I have a thing about that. Like, I don't like that parents are lying to their kids like that. It's just weird. Why would you lie to your kids about that stuff? And then they grow up thinking this is how you create humans who will easily believe anything that's said to them. I think we should stop with the, oh, Santa Claus brought you this. Like, no, I bought you that. No such thing as Santa Claus. And then you have like kids sitting on Santa Claus's lap. Creepy. But in Mexico, Santa Claus doesn't bring presents. It's basically in January 6th. It's the Three Kings. Again, it's religious based. Spain colonized Mexico, so everybody's like forced to believe that three kings bring you gifts. And I remember my niece, because she grew up in the US, the first time she spent Christmas in Mexico, she told me Santa Claus didn't come to Mexico. And I didn't want to tell her, like, hey, Santa Claus isn't real. So I basically just said, oh, yeah, he doesn't, like, go to Mexico. Like, it's on January when the three kings bring a gift. And, oh, yeah, like, I was thinking too about lyrics. Like, you don't understand them when you're a kid, but you sing them. Like, I hear my nieces rapping to Megan Thee Stallion. They don't understand what Megan Thee Stallion is saying, but they sing it with such passion. And that I used to be like that too. Rihanna songs, I used to listen to her all the time. I didn't understand it, but I liked it. And there's still songs that I'm re-listening now that I'm older, and I'm like, what was this about? Like, this is crazy. And Rihanna has some lyrics that say, "Sex in the air, I don't care. I love the smell of it." What? Gross, dude. And I also want to talk about a story. I went to Minneapolis one time for a school conference, and first of all, nobody told me, but in the metro transit, the subway, I didn't know what to call it, by the way. I was like, the train? They're like, oh, you mean the subway? Because I was asking some girl, like, where it was, like, how I could get to it. Because I went outside, and I didn't know how to get on the train or the subway. But when I got there, some lady, this old lady, like, was really nice to me. And but before I got on it outside, there are like these booths where you have to like pay, right? You have to pay $2 before you get on the subway. And then when I got on the subway, this old lady was talking to me, and she was like, "Oh yeah, like we don't really pay it." I'm like, "What?" She was like, "Yeah, we don't really pay the subway. It's a public transportation, so we don't really pay it. Sometimes the dude will come pass by here and ask for tickets, but they don't really ask for it." I'm like, "Bro, I should have known that." And if you don't know, like for next time, just get on the transit, get where you need to go. But yeah, she was like really nice to me. And I do think about that lady sometimes. Like, I wonder I wonder if she still takes the subway, and I wonder if I go back, I'll be able to see her because she's lived there her whole life. She basically told me, like, as I was passing through the city, she was telling me stories about like when she was little and how it's compared to now. And she was talking about, she was saying Indians a lot, but obviously it's Native American. But she was saying, like, oh yeah, the Indians, there was a building, and she was like, oh yeah, the Indians used to live there. And then suddenly the building caught on fire, so then they had to move out, and that building's not occupied by anybody anymore. First of all, sketch. You're telling me like this building and just nobody like fixed it or anything. But on the subway too, I saw I saw this guy. It was two dudes that got on the train. I sat all the way in the back. I don't know if I'm supposed to do that, but I did. I don't know if that's safe. But I sat all the way in the back. And then there was a dude that kept asking, or I saw him grab a ball of snow outside and then came inside. He started eating the snow. And I was like, dude, gross. And he was eating it, and then he came up to me, he asked me for money, and then he left asking everybody else for money. But yeah, interesting. And then I also saw this guy in a wheelchair and this girl. Basically, like when she pushed him on the train or the subway, he dropped a bottle of alcohol. And then I was like, oh, this is awkward. And then I didn't say anything, but then she noticed that it fell, and she was like, oh yeah, you dropped your alcohol. And she was like trying to give it back to him. And I think he got shy that I like saw that, because then he was like, I don't want it anymore. She was like, you don't want it anymore? And he was like, no, I don't want it anymore. Okay. So I wanna tell you guys the time I stopped being a nerd. I remember this point in my life. So I would get good grades in middle school. Shit was easy, school was easy. And most kids just didn't do their homework. If they did their homework, they would realize that this shit was easy. But anyway, I stopped being a nerd in school when I didn't know how to spell the word nerd. I spelled it Nurd. And then there was a dude who just started making fun of me. He was like, "Oh my god, the nerd doesn't know how to spell nerd." And I was like, then maybe I'm not a nerd. But anyway, little story there. And The Rock, well, some people are saying that they would want The Rock, Dwayne, I don't know, The Rock, um, to run for president. I think they said it was like 40% or something. There's like some random survey of random people who took it. I don't know. But let's think about that for a minute. First of all, I thought he was Canadian for some reason. Let me look that up right now. Or no, is he from California? I don't know. The Rock. Oh, he is from California. I guess he could run. Dwayne Johnson. Dwayne the Rock Johnson. Okay, that's how it's said. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, do it, I guess. I mean, I think he would get a lot of votes because he's very popular with like different types of people. But in my opinion, we should start getting people as presidents who people who know about technology, people who know about, yeah, basically technology, you know, cryptocurrencies, who are able to understand that. And not just people like, I mean, the last two presidents, like, they don't know nothing about that. They don't understand artificial intelligence. They don't understand cryptocurrencies. They don't understand any of the digital stuff. And I think that we need presidents who are able to understand that stuff. And there's this new, it's not an issue, but I think it's going to become an issue once school starts in the fall, and that is college students getting vaccinated. And our school is going to require college students to get vaccinated. I feel like they shouldn't be, because you can't force somebody to do something they don't want to do. That's the whole reason, the whole free country concept, that the government can't force you to do anything that you don't want to do. But I feel like there's going to be a weird shift, and I already feel that weird shift happening in school. There's going to be a shift, and it's going to suck for most people at the beginning. And I think only the strongest schools are going to survive this whole pandemic, the rate that, I mean, some people are realizing that, why would I waste my time in college? Like, if you don't have a plan, if college is not in your plan, greater thing or whatever you want to do, then yeah, college is useless. But if you need college to do whatever you want to do, then you have to go to college. There's gonna be a weird shift. I don't know what the shift is gonna be. There's something that's gonna happen, and I don't want to be around for it. Honestly, I just want to finish school already. So I don't know how to accept compliments. I just don't. And I get weird when people compliment me. I don't even know what to say. I'm just like, thank you. Like, what the fuck? Like, I don't know what to say. Talk about compliments and also the serial killer stuff from earlier. I don't know, man. Like, I was walking to school from my car, we were parked, and some guy, like, asked me for my number or whatever. And I'm like, damn, I might be cute or whatever. But I didn't give that guy my number because he looked really young. I should have probably asked, oh yeah, how old are you? But I didn't. I was just like more interested in going to do what I was going to do at school. Oh yeah, one time I met a Holocaust survivor. Obviously, this is when I was really young, and there wasn't like a lot of Holocaust survivors around. And this was at a time when I didn't know how to speak English. But like going back to the I don't know how to accept compliments, I remember that lady, she like was telling us how, her experience and what happened to her during the whole Holocaust, and she was able to pass off as being white in Germany because of her hair color. and she changed her name to Maria, or she would tell people her name was Maria because, that was like, I guess, a non-Jewish name. And I remember like we were gonna go up to take a picture, and I remember her saying like, "Oh my God, you're so pretty, you're so cute." And I didn't know how to speak English, so I just smiled, and I just like, and she was like touching me and stuff, like, like touching my hair and then like my shoulders. And she was like, "Oh, you're so pretty." And I was like, "Oh, thank you." But yeah, like that's not creepy. I don't find that creepy. But if it's some random guy, like on a trail when it's gloomy, who tries to touch me and tell me that I'm pretty, like, no, back up, sir. Back up. Oh yeah, I was like, okay, I'm reading my notes. It says middle finger to a guy passing by. What? But I know what I'm talking about. Okay, so one time, again, I was in my car. I was walking. I had to park like a block away from my house because there was no space. And as I was walking to my house, it was after a long day. I was in a relationship back then or whatever. So um, I wasn't like interested in getting complimented by dudes. But this dude didn't even compliment me. He was just like in the back of a car, obviously with his boys. And there's a dude driving, dude in the passenger seat, dude in the back, dudes in the back seat, and this one was by the window. And I was walking to my house, and he was like, "Hey, you dropped something." So I just like showed him my middle finger, and as he was passing by, my finger followed, but I didn't even like turn around and look at him. That's some boss ass shit right there. And then I just remember hearing him like, "Bitch." He called me a bitch, but I didn't care because he's a backseat boy. It's not like he could turn around because guess what? That wasn't his car and he wasn't driving. So I didn't feel bad. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So I have this other one. I was at a club one time, pre-corona, obviously, and I went to the club, and I had never really been to the club, but it was one of the girls, a girl I knew. It was her 21st birthday, so I was like, "Bro, we gotta go. We have to celebrate." And we went to the club, and there was a guy who wouldn't like leave me alone. Like he wanted my number, and I'm like, "Bro, like just leave me alone." Like obviously, the club is not some place you go to find love, and I'm very aware of that. And I'm not interested in any of the other stuff. I like the music. I want to dress cute. I want to walk in there. I want to dance and get out. I'm not interested in anything else. And this dude kept bothering me. He was like, "Can I have your number?" I was like, "No." And I walked to the other side, to a different side. And he followed, and he kept bothering me. He kept putting his phone in my face so I could give him my number. And I ended up putting not my number, but I put up a number. I put 911. And when he saw that, he looked at me all mad. I was like, "Bro, if you can't laugh at my silly ass fucking jokes, I don't want you, bro." And I thought it was funny. I thought it was hilarious. Like he kept bothering me. I was like, "Alright, I'm gonna put a number in there, 911. What's up?" He didn't laugh. I was like, "Alright, I'm out." And I left after that. Gosh, like I said, I'm just gonna talk shit. This doesn't make any sense, but yeah, okay, this one's another good one. I love telling my nieces who their mothers were before they were born. I just love doing that. And it's an interesting concept. Like, you think your parents are a certain way, but you have no idea who your parents were before you were born. Like, honestly, it sucks if your parents are the same person because they're the same person. Like they're supposed to grow after having kids, you're supposed to grow or whatever. And yeah, I think about that a lot. I think about like my mom and my dad, like who were they before I met them? And think about that too. What do you think your parents were doing? Who do you think your parents were before you met them? Okay, this is another one. Another good one. Okay. And I'm gonna stop soon because it's at 30 minutes already, but who? No, that's not the right way to start the question. No. Okay. Would Jennifer, it's a theory. Would Jennifer Lopez exist if Selena Quintanilla was still alive? What do you think? I think Jennifer Lopez would have never existed if Selena Quintanilla was still alive. Okay? Jennifer Lopez from the American side has been in movies, has been in music, has ripped off Ashanti. Okay, so if you don't know, Jennifer Lopez ripped off Ashanti a lot because in music videos. Okay, so how it usually works is like if an unknown artist wants unknown artists to sing their songs, to buy the song from them, or something like that, they have a demo, right? So Ashanti had a demo of a song and basically sold it to whoever it was, right? And Jennifer Lopez, bitch ass, wasn't even singing, and she would use Ashanti's vocals to lip sync over them. You could see it in music videos. Like, obviously, when you look at the videos, it's like it matches Jennifer Lopez. Like, her voice, it matches Ashanti's voice matches Jennifer Lopez. So, like, people never really realized that. And so Ashanti started talking about it. But yeah, Jennifer Lopez in the American side, she made music, she made movies, so she's known for that. She's known as J Lo in the American side. But in the Hispanic side, Jennifer Lopez is basically just known for Selena Quintanilla. And if you start looking at her fashion post recording Selena Quintanilla, she basically like mimicked a lot of the fashion Selena had. Selena was known for her fashion. Selena was known for her singing. Selena was known for her dancing. Selena was known for her beautiful body. And then Jennifer Lopez became all that. She started to be known for her fashion, for her singing, I guess. She sings. I sound like such a hater right now, but like I said, she was taking Ashanti's voice and just lip syncing that. So I don't know if that I would call somebody like that a singer if they're just they're lip singing somebody else's stuff. But she's known as a singer. She did acting. She did dancing. I think she's a great dancer. I think her dancing is great. But like and fashion too. But she uses like or she doesn't design her own clothes. It's more like she creates her own fashion. Or no. She doesn't create her own fashion. She uses like Versace clothing, those higher up, those higher rated designers. She uses those. And I don't know, would she exist if Selena Quintanilla was still alive? Personally, I feel like she wouldn't exist. But I don't know. Let me know what you think. And that's all I have for this week. I actually have more stuff to talk about, but I think I'm gonna save it for next week so I have something to talk about. Yeah, I will see you guys next week.